When retired, you should not have it in your head what to do. You should be thinking, look at all the things that I can do. Let's talk about it. You're with Retired with James. I'm Jim. Hopefully, since my first video, you started working on your journal. This journal is meant to identify everything that you want to do within the first year of your retirement, and breaking it down even further, the first month, the first week of your retirement. And then I asked if you could pick an item, something that's a little bit larger, that a camping trip, an activity, a trip, and break it out on additional pages of your journal and identify what it is you need to do to achieve that particular task. Do you need education? Do you need information? Do you need equipment? Do you need to contact some friends that may join you or that you would like to have join you? List everything on those additional pages. And that journal, you keep going further and further. So if there's a really large trip that you want to take, then you need to really identify everything about that trip or activity so that you know exactly what your needs are. If you find yourself a little confused and bewildered about what to do first, then choose something simple, something that doesn't take much planning, and just make it happen. And make it part of your daily routine or weekly routine. Then pick out something else. Pick something that will complement that first item, or doesn't have to, can be something totally different, and start doing that particular item. Make it part of your daily or weekly routine, and keep building upon that. Once you do that, it'll start to become very simple and just natural. Some things, bigger activities, large trip, going with a camper tent somewhere you want to go out west, out east, anywhere in the United States or some other Canada, and it's a big event. It requires a lot of planning. Then, as I said in the journal, break out, make that list, get very detailed about the things that you need to make that happen. Some items, much bigger, will require that it doesn't actually take place for a few years, a year, because it's a major activity, let's say a marathon. My oldest son, his fiancée Kim, is a marathon runner. She's been running for years. One of her big goals was to run the Boston Marathon, and she just recently achieved that. She's been accepted, and she will run in the 2022 Boston Marathon. Now, that type of activity requires a lot of preparation. If you want to run a marathon, you can't just wake up one morning, take a 2-mile run and say, yeah, I'm going to run a marathon now, because trust me, it won't happen. You will drop long before you reach the end of that marathon, even a half marathon. You have to prepare for something like that. So what does it require? Start writing those things down. What is your exercise routine going to start with? You got to do some mini runs to get going. What is your run schedule for the week? Because with Kim, she has a schedule of days that she runs short runs, medium runs, and then at least once during that week, she has a very long run. She also has to be aware of her diet, food preparation, making sure she has the energy level that she needs to not only accomplish a marathon, but accomplish it in the style that you want to accomplish it in, with the time that you want. So there's a lot more to planning than you think. So you can start making the routine of planning for a marathon or some other activity that you will enjoy doing, but it can become part of your routine to the planning for that major activity. So you got a camper and you're going out to the Rocky Mountains and you're going to do hikes up the Rocky Mountains. Well, in your 60s, it's not that easy just to go out one day and start hiking up the Rocky Mountains. The elevation, let alone the oxygen level, is going to kill you. So you got to prepare for something like that. You got to list everything you need to do to prepare for such an adventure. So think about that, write it down, make clear list of what you need to do, the routines that you need to have, the food, everything you need to do, even friendships you need to make or friends you need to call that will be part of that activity. I would like to recommend that if you have a journal of your daily life experiences, feelings, things you do, keep that separate from your retirement journal. Your retirement journal should just specifically be the activity list and the items that you need to complete those activities. Your personal journal of your feelings and what you did that day, keep that separate. That's my personal feelings on that. I think it would just be better controlled if you had those two journals separate from one another. I've run into a few people along the way of retirement that within the first year they just wanted to go back to work. Maybe not at their latest job they spent years at, but just something new to do. Let's talk about why that might happen. But before we do, let's understand something about ourselves. If you're really happy at what you're doing, you wake up in the morning and you just love going to work. No one has a job that 100% of the time you're totally in bliss. Great if you do, but probably not going to happen. I'm talking about overall, your daily routine, your life at work, you love it. You love going to work. The family life that you want, you have it. Everything is working. Your spouse or partner loves what you're doing, loves the daily routine that everyone has. Keep doing it if you want. There's no problem. You don't have to retire if you really enjoy doing what you're doing. I saw this interview with George Carlin a while ago. The gist of that interview, he was asked about retirement. And he basically said, would Picasso, who lived to the age of 91, would you ask him to retire at the age of 65? Because he is 65, what doesn't he hang up his painting and stop and maybe go kayaking or hiking? No, Picasso has to do his art. He is amazing at it. He was. And why would you ask such a person to stop doing what they're doing? So if you're one of those people, you love going to work, you enjoy it thoroughly, keep doing it. You don't have to retire unless your company mandates it. Very few companies these days do mandate retirement at 65 years old. So keep doing it if that's what you enjoy. But there are some of us that it's not so much the work and the love of working, it's just that we don't know what we would do without it. And that's why we're doing these journals to help us to do that. But let's say you do just have to work at something. You want to find a part-time job. Well, let's talk about then what type of job would you get? I ran into a guy not so long ago that loves fly fishing. Just loves it. He goes 3-4 trips a year to Michigan and out west, Yellowstone, and does fly fishing. But it's not something he can do all the time because there's cost involved with traveling and hotels and or bringing a camper, whatever. However he gets there, there's cost involved. So he does 3 or 4 trips a year. Now, if he feels that when he's home, he wants to do some type of work because he just can't keep himself busy all the time, well, then why not find a job that's related to fly fishing? Orvis is a great company that I enjoy. I typically wear Orvis clothes, but Orvis really made their company, built their company on fly fishing. So go to work for a company like that. So what he loves on a daily basis, he can work a job that sells that gear. And not only would he be happy, but the customers that talk to him, he would have such a wealth of knowledge about fly fishing. Uh, Another one, Home Depot or Lowe's or just a hardware store in general. Have you ever walked in and found someone a little bit older, kind of at retirement age, and they just have a wealth of knowledge about construction, homework, building a home, and they can help you out considerably. It's probably someone who worked the construction business, home building or something like that, and their body just couldn't keep up with the rigors of construction, and so they semi-retired, but they went to work at Home Depot or Lowe's. And now that wealth of knowledge that they gained over the years, they're using to help other people. So they enjoy what they're doing. I'm sure there's those days where they just have to stock the shelves and do something like that. But they also have many times where they're helping young people who are just getting started with a home, and I don't know what saw to use, I don't know what equipment, what tools I should have. That type of person can help you out considerably. So if you're that person, you're in a construction field, Lowe's or Home Depot, something like that. So the gist of what I'm saying is, what do you like to do? And then if you want to find a job, find something related to that. If a person is crocheting, they love fabrics, they love making things, find something related to that. And sometimes people just can't think of what they want to do. So I made a list. Let me share this list. It's long. I'm going to need my notebook to help me out. Okay. Let's get going on this. Running, biking, travel to the U.S., travel abroad. Reading more, working on your home, working at planning a new home, expand your garden, learn more about gardening, work a charity, help those in need. That's a good one. Start a new type of charity, even better. Create something that maybe is related to what you did for a living, and you can incorporate that into a charity and helping others. Learn a new language. It's always a good one. Write a novel. Write your life story. Write your family history. Write a journal about how you met your spouse or partner. That's something that actually I started doing with my kids. A little tangent that I'll get off on here for a second. I have a small collection of fountain pens and fountain pen inks. I got probably a dozen different colors. And I had to teach myself, after retirement, how to write in cursive. I haven't written in cursive since I was in 7th grade, maybe. I couldn't write anything but my name in cursive, and I didn't even do that well. But with fountain pens, I just thought, I need to teach myself cursive, because with a fountain pen, it just doesn't seem right to print, even though I'm a very good printer. So I taught myself how to cursive write again, and now I'm pretty darn good at it. But then I thought, okay, what do I write? I could write a few letters, but I got the idea of writing down in a letter form experiences that I had meeting my wife. So, like the show, How I Met My Mother, how I met my wife, how I met your mother for my kids. And I have 3 kids, so I wrote one letter to one of my kids about a particular instance and how I met their mother. And to the other kid, I wrote a totally different story about something else. And the third kid, another story. And I wrote them out, and I told them if they want to hear the other stories, they had to call one another. What a great way to get them to contact one another. Not sure they did it, but I was doing that for a short while. Plan a trip, a bucket list type of trip. Spend time with your children. Spend time with your grandchildren. Exercise for overall fitness. Exercise for fun. Find a friend. Find an old friend. Take a course to learn something new. Take a course to keep your brain sharp. Join a club. Start a new club. Learn computer skills. Take pictures. Learn camera skills. Share with someone your life's skills. That's a good one. Crochet. Learn how to crochet. Volunteer. Take a scenic train ride. Another love of mine. Just started researching this Rocky Mountain, Canadian Rocky Mountain train that starts from Vancouver and goes through the Canadian Rockies, and it's supposed to be absolutely gorgeous. I am going to do that one, or there's a Toronto to Vancouver, Canada train. Not inexpensive, but it looks amazing. If you've never flown, fly somewhere. I've flown way too much. I'm good there. But if you haven't flown yet, take a short trip. Find out what it's like. Get a pet. Get more pets. Make a great garden and share your harvest. Move to a small town. Move to a city. Stay where you are, but explore where you are. That's something that my wife and I did in the beginning of COVID. We, were in the house obviously a very long time. So what we would do every other day, we would get in the car. We wouldn't be going to anywhere specific. We would pick different parts of the city and go drive through that part of the city and really get to know where we live. We tend to go to the grocery, to the hardware store, and certain places we go to all the time. Well, we started to investigate the city and find out what other places are there in Cincinnati that are great. And we found a lot of interesting places. Low income, middle income, high income areas, they all have a very unique, adventurous look about them that's worth seeing. Learn about where you are from. Help make your community better. Help a worthy politician. Digitize your film print photos. Organize your closets. Simplify your life. Declutter your home. Make a great and wonderful work or relaxation space within your home. Help your spouse make a work or relaxation space. Learn how to woodwork, or start doing it if you know it. Start building something new. Learn how to build a bookcase. Share some of your old books with people that would love to have them. That's a good one. I've got a lot. I've got more upstairs. Probably could share a few. Watch YouTube videos to learn something, like this one. Create your own YouTube video. Share something that is important to you that you know a lot about and you want to help people, just if nothing else, just understand. You would be amazed at YouTube and some of the things that you can find there. Not just to learn something or a review, but someone just telling a story. My wife, she loves these bears. There's one over here, and I think there's one or two over there. And she has these videos she watches of people that collect a lot of those bears, and they just talk about them. And that's it. She absolutely loves it. It's just something she really enjoys watching. And she can just sit there for an hour watching these videos. So if you have some love of something, and if nothing else, just want to share it, I have kind of a sophisticated setup here doing what I'm doing, but it doesn't have to be that sophisticated. You can have an iPhone, an Android phone, and do the same thing very easily. Have just a little tripod that holds it, and film away. Make it happen. These are just a few things. So, to help me continue to do what I'm doing, log in to YouTube and subscribe. It's going to help me continue doing what I'm doing. I'm going to have another video here very soon after this one. Please log back in to Retire with James. Thank you for joining me today.